Welcome to another episode of From No Crypto to No Crypto. This is the Crypto Coach, Blockchain Wayne, with another cryptocurrency podcast. Today's episode brought to us by Unchained Education, cryptocurrency and blockchain education. I'll break the chains that bind us. Also, today's episode is brought to us by Concierge Club, mobile private key wallet, and a point of sale solution, helping to make crypto safe, easy, and overall process more efficient while costing less. All right, so it's been a while since I've recorded, so I really wanted to jump in today just to kind of talk about what's happened in the market. It's funny because most of the podcasters disappeared when the crypto market, we were in a deep bear market and the market prices were going down. And I did a little bit of the opposite. As the market heated up, I haven't done a podcast in a while. And that's for several reasons. Been really working on the education platform Unchained University. Have some great developments there as we transition to Unchained Education, which is going to be a part we've merged with Blockchain Training Academy. A lot of information will be in the comments here if you want to check out the link to see what it's all about. Basically, I built the education platform by merging with Blockchain Training Academy for the same price that our students were paying. They can get a ton more value and a lot more access to more people in the crypto space, including the content that I've been creating. So let's jump in, look at what's going on. So since the last episode, it's been several weeks, actually 3 or 4 weeks now, and the market absolutely took off in relation to altcoins. We saw altcoins surging 20, 30, 40, 50%. Tezos, which is a project that I am very interested in and actually working with a team here to launch a group and an office for one of their foundations. We saw them more than double in price over the last month. And so, call it what you want. People call it alt season. It was a pump, but they gained a lot of value in the market. So now, actually, as of the time of this recording, we're actually starting to see some retracement. Bitcoin, I went back over 10,000, is dipping back down below at the time of this recording. Many of the altcoins, you can't expect for a market to continue to go up like it did without some sort of a correction. If you look at market histories, any viable market that is still a lively market, because if the market's dying, let's face it, it's just going to continue to go down. But you have this stair-step effect where it may go up, retrace back quite a bit, but make a higher low and then continue to go up. So that's kind of what we're looking at now. We could see some more downside, but really wanted to talk about just emotions in the market. Don't let your emotions run how you invest. If we look at it, the reason most people lose money in investments is not because they put money in bad investments. They let their emotions dictate when they put money in and the timing. So I go back to when Bitcoin had dipped back down all the way up from, it was over 19,000 for a second, dropped over the next year, got bottomed out below 3,500. And a friend of mine asked me if it was a good time to buy Bitcoin. Now, of course, I'm going to say yes, that was a great time. I didn't feel thought we could go a little bit lower, but knew we didn't have much more lower to go and felt there would be big upside from there. Fast forward, Bitcoin got to 9,000. He sends me a text message, hey, is it a good time to buy? And actually, that's when I screenshotted our message from prior and said, hey, actually, this was a better time to buy. But it was his emotion of FOMO, fear of missing out. When Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies on the rise, you hear the hype, you hear about them, and most people are wanting to invest after it's pumped, right? You see it's hitting, and don't get me wrong, if we want to be able to sell at the top of a market and make a profit or be able to buy back lower and increase our holdings, we need someone to buy at the top. But let it be those uneducated people. If you're listening to this podcast and you're digging into other cryptocurrency resources, then you are the educated. So yes, we always need people to buy at the top, but it doesn't need to be you. And you got to control your emotions of FOMO, because that's what happens is a lot of people thought that the market was just going to continue to go up, and they invested back in the end of 2017 when Bitcoin was above 15,000. They were buy. And where did that put us? Look at where we are today. Those people are still upside down on their investment. Now, if they listen to some of the things I talked about, if you're not going to learn how to trade, if they would a dollar cost average Bitcoin over time, then they'd actually be positive on their investment, which means continue to buy increments at each week. No matter what the price is, they would be in a better position and positive on their investment. Now, dollar cost average doesn't work on everything. You invested in a crap coin, some of these cryptocurrencies that have just continued to bleed and lose value, then dollar cost averaging doesn't work, right? It only works in an asset that has potential. So there's only a handful, a few from the 2017 craze that have some premise, have some ability to continue to go back up, and dollar cost averaging will work. So that's what you want to look at, is control your emotions. When Bitcoin peaked over 10,000 this last time, you had these same people that came out that were saying you're never going to be able to buy Bitcoin again for under 10,000. It's going up. And those people just don't understand how markets work. But what they do is they create FOMO, fear of missing out, in their friends and family and people that are listening to them. And those people buy at that point. At the same time, traders are looking at the signals in the market, looking at charts and knowing that, hey, we're going to retrace some. We're not going to go straight up. We're going to go back down below 10,000, possibly even below 9 before we go up higher. And so now you have new people you brought in that are buying Bitcoin for the first time, and now they're sitting down 5 or 10% on their investment because they bought at the top. They bought at that FOMO cycle, and they don't really understand what they bought. I would rather if someone asks me now, is it a good time to buy Bitcoin, or how much should I put in? It's a good time. It's always a good time, right? But the amount you put in should be related to the level of knowledge you have on Bitcoin. You know, if and that's relative to your finances, right? If you've got millions of dollars and you want to put $5,000 in, then go right ahead. But if you basically are living check to check and only have a few $100s to throw in, don't throw everything in. I'd rather see someone stick with Bitcoin, dollar cost average, but at the same time increase your education on what's going on in the market, what's happening in these cycles, because that's what happens. We're seeing the same thing happen in the stock market, right? And I know this is a cryptocurrency podcast, but I'm talking a little bit about the stock market. If you look at the chart of the stock market, the Dow Jones Industrial, and some of these other charts going back, this thing is propped up on a house of cards. It continues to have money pumped in and pumped in. And the funny thing is, when you understand how the crypto market works, and a lot of people are not fond of Tether because Tether can pump the market. Tether is a cryptocurrency that's pegged to the US dollar. Supposedly they have the backing for it, but there's been, rumors and speculation of a lot of manipulation there where they could just print more Tether to pump the market. Well, that's what's happening in the US stock market. The Federal Reserve is just printing money that's propping up the market, and the market just continues to go up, 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 and up, and it's heading for a crash. The problem is people right now that don't understand investing, that don't understand how to look at markets and charts, they're thinking this market is strong, this market is solid, now is a good time to invest. It can only keep going up from here. And then when the market crashes, those are the people that are left upside down on their investment, lost a lot of money, and then they panic, right? After FOMO comes panic. When the market drops, there's panic, and people panic sell at the bottom of a market cycle. Well, you got to flip that mindset, because your successful investors and traders are, when the market is full of greed and full of excitement and happiness, that's when traders and investors are selling. And then when there's panic and blood in the streets and people are thinking the market's going to zero and panicking, that's when your successful investors are buying up. They're accumulating. You look back to the crash of 2008 when we saw the economy crash. Real estate markets crashed, stock markets crashed, and a lot of people were panicking. They saw their 401k and retirement portfolios dwindle down, and they may have panic sold thinking it was going further. But those people that were investing, that were buying up when those times happened, that's where the money was made, right? You don't make money at where the market is right now. You don't make money buying Bitcoin at 8, 9, or 10,000. You made it back when it was 3,000 and 4,000. Not saying it's not going to go higher eventually, but you got to understand there's so many people out there shilling, saying buy, buy, buy. They're just trying to prop the market up because, they want to see it go up higher. But at the same time, people need to have the right mindset that it could actually go lower. If you took $500 today and invested in Bitcoin and it dropped tomorrow, your initial instinct, your gut feeling would be, I need to sell this before it goes down further. Whereas for me, I understand what Bitcoin is doing. And if you understand where Bitcoin has come from, where it's going, and what the potential is, then when it dips, if you didn't get a chance to sell before the dip, you're just going to hang on and buy a little bit more. Unless it looks like it could go down further, but you don't want to do that unless you understand how to read the charts, read the markets. And even that, we're not 100% right. Nobody can predict the future. if we could predict it, I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere. But it's all about learning how to identify trends and to be right more times than you're wrong. Not necessarily right more times than you're wrong. Your percentage of your trade. So in other words, I could be right 9 times and wrong once. So I'm 9 out of 10 on that ratio. But if I went in heavy on that one trade I lost, I could be in the negative. So it's mitigating risk and understanding that it's all about being right more than you're wrong. And don't chase a trade. If you're trying to buy something and it continues to pump and go up and it never hits your buy price, don't chase it. Wait for it to come back down. It's going to eventually hit a point where it's going to settle back down. So mindset in crypto is huge. That's why I created Unchained University. You heard me mention a little bit about it earlier in the podcast, but what I'm looking to do is, and I even interviewed him. I have to find the episode. Maybe I'll link the episode down in the bottom. But over a year ago, probably close to a year and a half ago, I'd interviewed a guy named Bilal Mia from the UK. Now, Bilal had been involved in cryptocurrency since 2012. He's very knowledgeable on the subject, and he had created his own academy to teach people about cryptocurrency and blockchain. And we had a lot of the same ideas, but I had the urge to create my own program. That's why I created Unchained University, and we were building that out. And I was the main content creator, just creating all the content for it. And after looking at what Bilal was doing and what he's created, we had a conversation last week, and it decided it would be beneficial to merge, to combine everything together, put it under the Blockchain Training Academy, umbrella. And so that's why I changed it to Unchained Education, is because a university within an academy just doesn't make sense. So Unchained Education, bring my content over, and we're all going to collaborate together. And he's got a team, a core team that's creating content, and our pricing was the same. So when it comes down to it, the students can come over and get more value from Blockchain Training Academy, and we can continue to build that global brand and and educate people about cryptocurrency, educate people about having the right mindset. And there's so many other things that are available through there. We've got ideas of different ways to grow that, but we're working together because we realize that you can position yourself before the next true massive bull market, right? We've seen flashes of bull and bear recently, and even micro flashes, right? Right now, everybody's bearish just because Bitcoin had dropped below 10 grand and now below 9,600. But, what the long term, we realize that Bitcoin is not dead. Bitcoin is growing. So there's going to be a point, and there could be more lows before there's highs, but there's going to be a point where it's going to surpass the all-time high from that brief little period in 2017 when it spiked up just for like a week or so, when it was manipulated up. This is now where we're seeing true growth because the space is evolving, the space is maturing, and a lot of things are happening within the cryptocurrency space. So if you want to jump in and educate yourself, then I recommend you join Blockchain Training Academy, get involved in the education. Let's face it, it's $10 a month, for the price of one fast food meal or less than 2 Starbucks coffees a month. You can get in and learn about cryptocurrency education. One thing that I bring to the table that I had in Unchained University that I'm bringing over with Unchained Education within the Blockchain Training Academy is I teach people different resources that are available to earn cryptocurrency. I can show you how to earn more than $10 a month worth of free cryptocurrency. Make your program free, but then educate yourself on what's going on. The safest investment you can make with the biggest return is always going to be in your education. When you understand something, when you understand how that works, then that is going to increase your ability to be able to invest successfully, create different things, and be able to make the right decisions at the right times, and learn to not let your emotions dictate how you invest. Because if you let your emotions dictate how you invest, you're going to get wrecked every single time. Right? So, invest in it. So we've got 3 levels of pricing: $10 a month, $100 a year, or $300 lifetime. And that gives you access to all of the social media groups that we have, where we're constantly adding more content to. The Blockchain Trading Academy website, the login to where you can go in and go through different courses. All of the courses that I created in Unchained University, The ones that aren't duplicate, that Bilal, the ones that Bilal has already created, we're going to merge those into the academy and create so much more. We had a conference call the other day, and really have a huge vision to build this thing to a lot more. So didn't want to turn this into a sales pitch, but I want you to understand what it is. You heard me mention it earlier. That is what I've been working on. If you've been following this podcast, appreciate you jumping back into this one. It's been a while since I've done a podcast, mainly because I was creating content for the university, and it takes so long just to create an educational video and go in and do all the edits and everything to make that video ready to publish. Takes a lot of time. So this is going to allow me to get back into podcasting a whole lot more, get back on a regular schedule, and just drive more awareness to the cryptocurrency space. And as you learn more about cryptocurrency, make sure to bring people along with you, right? If you have other people that are interested in it, share the resources that you utilize, this podcast, other podcasts, the training academy, whatever it may be, share that with other people. And that way, because that's what's going to get us towards mass adoption. The more people that are utilizing it, there's more awareness. And then that's going to drive, when people understand and business owners realize that more people are utilizing it or holding it or buying it, then they're going to want to accept it as payments more. And then that's going to create an ecosystem. Imagine, and here's where the ecosystem needs to go. Right now, we look at everything in relation to the US dollar or whatever your government's main currency is. But there's going to be a point where that don't matter, because that price for an item is going to be fixed in, say, Bitcoin or one of the other cryptos. And then you can walk into a retail location, you can pay that retailer, and you walk out with goods. That retailer can then pay their wholesalers, their manufacturers for the goods, and with that same cryptocurrency. And then the wholesaler or manufacturer can buy raw goods from their supplier with that cryptocurrency, and then that raw goods manufacturer can pay their employees can walk into locations and spend that crypto. That's the ecosystem we're looking to evolve. Right now, it's going to be kind of like when cars were first invented. When cars first came out, there weren't paved roads, right? Cars, it was new technology that was running sideline with old infrastructure. You would have cars and horses on the same road, and that's where we're at right now in cryptocurrency adoption. Still have a long way to go. But if you look at the money going into the space, you realize that we're moving along, and things are happening to make that a reality. Every day, there's companies and groups that are working on different projects and protocols to make cryptocurrency easier, could be faster, could be easier to adopt. I mean, think about email 25 years ago to email now. 25 years ago, you had to know a little bit about code to send an email, and it would take several days. And those were all the reasons why people said nobody would ever use it. Today, you have a grandmother that is on an iPad that just sent an email with a swipe of a finger. That's how technology has evolved to make it easier. And that's what's going to happen in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. So that's it for today's episode. I want to thank you for listening in, and we will catch you on the next episode.